You are tuning into Act Like an Author, Think Like a Business, Episode 4. Thank you so much for joining me. I am your host, Joy Lynn Ross, literary consultant, literary concierge, writing coach, and online course instructor for Path to Publishing's online school, which, by the way, you can visit at www.path-to-publishing.thinkific.com. In Path to Publishing, the 2 is T-O. So again, www.path-to-publishing.thinkific.com. I also write under the name E.N. Joy, but more importantly, I'm the person who's going to help you stop leaving money on the table and maybe even go back and grab some of the money you've already been leaving. And how am I going to help you to do that? You guessed it, by helping you to act like an author, think like a business. All right, so welcome to today's episode where we are going to talk about, 1, the fact that you don't have to be a writer to become an author. Because that's one of the first things I hear people say, I want to write a book, but I'm not a writer. You don't have to be a writer to become an author, a published author. If you want to write a book, there are resources to help you write that book, which is why you don't have to be a writer to become an author. Heck, get someone who is a writer to help you write the book. Resources. Get an editor to help you clean up all your words, or even get a ghostwriter. Tell them your words. Let them write your words. Let them put some sense to it in organization. Take a college writing course, online writing courses, resources, people. You really have this message, this desire, this passion, this idea, thought, concept that you want to turn into a book and get it out, you can. Resources. And now that I've told you that there are resources, the only reason why you're not doing it now is because of your own excuses. Okay, so maybe you don't know where to start, or you know what you want to write about, you just don't know how to say it. But chances are you've already said it. Okay, no more teasing, no more teasing. I'm going to get right to it. 9 times out of 10, you've probably already written the content needed for your book. Even if you never even thought about writing a book until you just decided to click on and watch this episode, you can become an author. If you are on social media, if you are blogging, if you have a YouTube series such as this one, you've probably been focused on a single subject matter. Something you are passionate about, something you enjoy, a hobby. You may have been posting about it for years now, which means your book may already be written. Isn't this exciting? Okay, let me explain. Okay, I have Facebook pages that I'm associated with that focus on specific subject matters. The Path to Publishing Facebook page focuses on publishing with an emphasis on self-publishing. And the Act Like an Author, Think Like a Business Facebook page focuses on helping authors turn their book into a business. Now, every time I make a post on each page, I copy that post in a Word doc. Now, if you watched the episode before about social media and social media followers not being your customer and how you turn them into a customer, getting over to your website, if social media was to crash and burn, all of your followers go with it. Okay, so if social media was to crash and burn, all your posts will go with it. So the information from my Act Like an Author, Think Like a Business page, every post I create a Word document. My Path to Publishing page, every post I take it and I create a Word document. I put every post, so my pages are building and building and building every time I post. After so long, after you've posted for so long and so many months and so many years, that Word document gets to growing and growing and growing with content that you can do what with? You guessed it, that you can turn into a book. Yes. Because you know on social media you have to limit what you want to talk about. So there may be this subject matter that you're bananas about, crazy passionate about. But you know, after a couple of paragraphs, you kind of lose people, so you can't tell them everything you want to tell them, but they get the gist of it. But guess what? When you go back and turn those posts into content, you're creating more, you're adding to it, you're changing it, and you're developing content that you can ultimately turn into a book. My Word document is building and building, building with the content I share. Valuable content. I share content that is helping authors to turn their book into a business. I share content on the Path to Publishing page that's helping authors own their own intellectual content. They don't have to go to major publishers anymore. People are self-publishing. Once upon a time, the major publishing houses, they were each other's competition. Now they're fighting with these indie authors. We can do this ourselves. Now, I do have people who still want to, go off into acquiring agents or whatnot and going into traditional publishing, because a lot of times it just gets they get so successful, they can't keep up with those book orders, or they start doing speaking engagements, which is part of turning your book into a business. And they're not there to do post office runs and ship out book orders and things like that. So they get to the point where, you know what, I've got a nice, huge fan base. Self-publishing was great, got me where I need to be, helped me elevate into other areas. I kind of need a publisher now, to take over this. So I teach them how to package proposals and, acquiring agents, how to search agents, find the right agent or editor, because you don't even need agents for some of the publishing houses. So anyway, I want to get back on track. I want to get back onto how the content of your book is already written. So if you don't have a Facebook page, don't worry about that. You can use posts from your personal page. You can use posts from any of your social media sites. You may have to go back years, and it may be time consuming, but it's worth it. Dedicate a certain amount of time per day to doing just that. Going way back from when you started those social media sites and copy and pasting those posts, that content, into a Word doc. If you work outside of your home, that may be a little hard, but you've dedicated time. If you work outside your home, you've dedicated your time to your employer. You dedicated a certain amount of hours to his or her business, right? Okay, so do the same for your own business. Even if it's only an hour, if you could dedicate 8 hours to someone else's business, you can dedicate 1 hour to yours, because your book is your business. Or do what I do and hire a paid intern. And my intern happens to be my 14-year-old daughter. So if you only have one intern, have them do one social media account at a time. So if you're on Facebook, if you're on LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, whatever it is, have them work one account at a time. Or if you are what I call a repeat offender. Now, a repeat offender means you're one of those people who post the same content to every single social media account you have. Okay, so that may take less time than if you're like the person who just posts something new on each social media account. So it may be a little bit easier for you if you're a repeat offender. But nothing against a repeat offender. I'm guilty of repeating posts and putting the same post on different social media sites. So I'm guilty of that at times, but not to the point where I'm pushing out the same content on every single one of my social media accounts. So, but we'll get to that. That's going to be another episode about you repeat offenders. So anyway, your wheels are turning, aren't they? You want me to get back to the subject at hand? Okay. I'm getting back. See? Aren't you guys glad I stick with my agenda? Well, I don't stick with my agenda. I kind of take a detour sometime, get off track, but I managed to get back to where we need to be. So anyway, your wheels are turning. You're thinking about all those hours you spent on social media, totally unaware that you were penning your book. Didn't I tell you your book was already written? Because you're thinking about it now, right? Oh, wow. Yes, I really could take that content. I could gather all my posts. Sure can. And even if your book's not already written, didn't I just give you a great idea on how to get started? So now that you're privy to this message, you can be more mindful of the social media content you post. Get specific. If you like working out, post those workout tips. If you're a professional photographer, or even if it's a hobby, have you been sharing photos and tips on how to capture that perfect photo or that perfect image? So compile it into a book. If you like cooking, post recipes and cooking tips. Compile them into a book. Do you like giving tips on maintaining natural hair or healthy hair? You guessed it. Compile it in a book. Maybe a printed book, or maybe even a small ebook, audio book. Create a workshop manual, a coaching manual, a consulting guide, a journal. It's unlimited what you could do with all of those social media posts when you compile them. Take something you've been passionately posting about and use the content to create a book. You can add to it, have it edited, of course, and if you need to learn the publishing process, you can visit the Path to Publishing online school. So, for those of you who post your own inspirational quotes and sayings and motivational quotes, you guessed it, compile it into a book. If you've already written books, you may have another book inside of those books. Oh, this gets even better. Yes, again, if you've already written books, you may have another book inside of the books you've already written. So, do readers post lines? Do they post sayings? Or do they post quotes from your book? I know people come over to my social media accounts all the time and they say, oh my gosh, the line from this book, this really touched me, this really moved me. Sometimes they'll highlight it in the book and they'll take a picture of it and they'll post it. And it could be from fiction, it could be nonfiction, it can be a quote or a line, something that a character says. Why not compile all of those into, you guessed it, a book? It could be funny quotes, inspirational, motivational, what have you. If it moved a reader enough to highlight it and to turn it into a meme, then it's worth publishing, perhaps. So, if you don't want to reread all of your books to find those quotes and lines, have a contest asking your readers to. Told you this gets better. You can even tell them you'll cite their name as the one who pulled out that particular quote, that particular line in your book that changed your life or that moved them, etc. You can even take it a step further by asking the reader to provide a paragraph as to what that line meant to them, what that quote meant to them. And if it's funny, were they having this bad day and they just read that line in your book and it just made them laugh? Because you do know laughter is the best medicine. That's just not a saying and a cliche. Laughter really is a healer. So anyways, if that is something you decide to do, make it clear to the reader that there is no royalty involved. Because remember, they're creating a paragraph, they're creating content, or they're allowing you to use their name. So make it clear that there's no royalty involved. But you can always offer a prize for the contest, or you can offer a free copy of the published book. Not only will you end up with content for a book, but the readers may go out and buy your books just to be a part of the contest. Everybody likes to see their name in print. So that means the book sales from your catalog will increase. Okay, so now is that how you act like an author, think like a business, or what? And there you have it. Another short and painless episode of Act Like an Author, Think Like a Business. And as always, I cannot guarantee whether or not this episode was painless, but if my suggestions are something you could see yourself doing, they just might keep you from being penniless. So again, the content for your book may already be written. That thing you've been writing about, posting about, sharing on social media, that thing you are so passionate about, those tips, already written, already done. And here you've been putting off writing this book for years, and you had no idea that your book, the content for your book, may already be written. Yes. I want to thank you again for watching another episode of Act Like an Author, Think Like a Business. And if this is your first episode you've watched, please go back and watch the others, and make sure you subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss an episode. And until next time,